Coming tonight for the Public Library's presentation on Waynesburg Poorhouse. Our wonderful presenter this evening is Matt Cumberledge. He's a local historian. I'm pretty sure all of you know him. If you haven't met him before, here's Matt.
Oh, thank you. I'm far from wonderful. Okay, so I'm a terrible public speaker. I have notes that I'm going to talk from, but I strongly encourage you guys to ask me questions because it will be far more interesting if I'm talking about what you want to hear instead of me rambling on nonsensically. So, I want to talk about the poorhouse. Does everybody here know where the poorhouse in Greene County was? I'll ask that question first. Does Wayne?
Where your office is now?
Absolutely. It's out at the museum. The museum is in what was the poorhouse. And you will hear me use several different words tonight. They're all very interchangeable. You'll hear me use the term poorhouse or poor farm, almshouse or county. On the time period of history you're looking at, they may have used a ledger. It says poorhouse. A lot of the early reports refer to it as an almshouse. Later years, it was the county home, but I'm referring to the same institution. So to start with the history a little bit, the Greene County Poorhouse was established by an act in 1859. And basically every county in Pennsylvania, for the most part, had a poorhouse of some kind. Some of the smaller counties might have shared one with another county, but generally speaking, every county had one. Greene had one, Washington had one, Fayette had one. Most of them are long gone though. Or in the case of, Kevin, what's the place that Jay Blackburn works at?
You mean the Honda?
Yes.
Oh, it's a. Oh my God.
It used to be a poorhouse and it was
Yeah,
later converted to other use, and I can't. I'm embarrassed that I don't know. Hillview Manor.
At about midnight.
Hillview Manor.
Yes, there you go.
Hillview Manor. That's one of another poor farm that's still standing in the county, but to my knowledge, most of them are long gone, and that's really throughout the country. There's a handful scattered around that are still left, but not many. Very few that you can actually tour. I know of one in Ohio that you can tour, but it's in a very abandoned state. But it is worth going to see if you get the chance. It's in Fairfield County, Ohio, called the Fairfield County Infirmary. Very neat building. Ours here in Greene County is actually in quite decent shape. So definitely come out and see it if you haven't. I know a lot of you guys that are in this room have been there, but if you haven't, definitely come check it out. So the poorhouse was established by an act in 1859, and generally speaking, Pennsylvania followed the English system of poorhouses, or as they call them in England, workhouses, where basically, if you were an indigent person, you would live in this facility in exchange for work on the farm to kind of keep things going. I think the overall idea was to be as self-sufficient as possible. I don't think that was ever fully the case, but they raised their own crops. In fact, in the packets I gave you from, I think, 1934 and 1935, there's actually a list of produce that was produced at the Greene County Poor Farm, along with livestock and other things that they hadn't raised. They're basically their totals for the year. So a lot of people were expected to work out there. We do know that our poor farm had at least one coal mine on the property, and the inmates, they were called inmates out there, mined the coal. I think the report that talks about that specifically is from the 1870s or 1880s. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure the coal mining was a long running thing that they did out there because